Hi, today I'm going to walk through my key findings that I found through research. I started my research with existing online resources that are available on most post-secondary websites. So no matter where you look, you're probably going to find the following. On the left is a self-assessment that students can take. So although the questions and criteria might vary, the format and the types of questions that are asked are very similar across different institutions. What's interesting about these types of self-assessments is that there's a bit of context for them, but then it basically has students fill out the chart and then there's no follow-up. So students are left to self-assess their skills and then be able to internalize those issues and figure it out for themselves. In the middle is a common type of resource that students are often given on non-academic types of supports. So in this case, for time management, there's 5 strategies given, and then each strategy is broken out into different bites of information. And that's typical. Usually there's 5 to 10 strategies that students are given. And then on the right-hand side is a quick quote-unquote survey. It's 80 items. And what I thought was interesting about this is A, the length. I don't know how many students are going to be excited about an 80-item survey, and B, that it prioritizes learning styles. And that's something that I've seen in many resources. So there's quite a bit of misinformation out there, and I don't think that we're really meeting students' needs across the board here. Something interesting that I found as I analyzed what another institution was doing in our city is that their response to COVID-19 and remote learning was to create a RISE object. There were 5 different topics, and then each topic had micro videos. And so in these videos, as you'll see on the left-hand side, they've basically taken the strategies that are found in articles and repurposed them into a video. And although the information can be quite good, it's also sort of overwhelming, and it prioritizes one type of student. So the student that is likely to create a weekly study schedule in this way is going to benefit from this information. But to be honest, I don't think that many students, I don't think that this would meet many students' needs, because everyone looks at non-academic types of skills differently and they need different types of supports. So as I was looking at these resources, there were several characteristics that became evident that were quite common across these resources. So all of the resources were very general. A lot of them contained stock photos. So as you'll see on the right-hand side, this is a PDF, and this is common for non-academic types of resources. So the content isn't really humanized, and again, it's quite general. There's a lack of responsive design, and I don't just mean in the types of devices that students are using, but in the way information is given to students. It's not customizable, and it's not really contextualized within the environment that students need to apply in their different courses. In fact, it's quite a linear experience, and it does seem to prioritize one type of learner who's very logical and black and white thinker. So why does this matter? Well, you'll see here that I've referenced an article on the right-hand side, and I've found these findings in multiple resources. But first thing is that there is a clear relationship between students' non-academic skills and their backgrounds and privileges. So every student comes into the learning environment with sort of an invisible knapsack where they have different backgrounds and privileges that they're bringing into the learning environment. Some students might have strong time management skills, some might not have any, and it just depends on the experiences that they've been privileged or not privileged enough to have. Most students do not come to university with these skills figured out. And even if they do have strong time management skills, that can vary in different courses. So this can lead to sometimes subjective grading, because if we say that in a particular class, students need critical thinking skills, but then we don't address critical thinking skills anywhere in the curriculum or prepare students to practice with those skills or give them feedback on it, then we're just prioritizing the skills that students already have and that they're bringing into the classroom. So non-academic types of resources or skills can include things like critical thinking, communication, leadership styles, things like that. So it's not just time management and procrastination. It's a broad spectrum of skills that we need to address here. So as I was going through the resources, questions that came up to me from the student perspective would be, how is this skill going to help me in the course? So what? Why is time management so important? Why should I care? What's in it for me? If we don't address those with students and make that clear, then chances are what we're trying to say is not going to land. If we don't help them see what's going to help them succeed, then probably the information is just going to go over their heads. So the first key finding is that we need stronger support for our staff. And what I mean by that is that they need online course design support. They need help structuring their courses and knowing when to supply non-academic supports for students. They need help understanding digital body language from students. So if they're going to create and share resources, then they need to have an understanding of if they're effective and when students are using them and why. They need assistance in providing just-in-time support that's contextualized in their courses. Because again, if they're not contextualized and they don't seem relevant to students, they're not going to use them. My second finding is that we need stronger content organization. I believe that the learner support resources need to be centralized. So it's great that we have so many resources, but for the content that already exists, it needs to be more centralized. We shouldn't expect students to go to 3 or 4 university housed websites to access the information that we want them to have. I also think there's an opportunity to have it better organized, even just simple ways, using words and phrases that students use instead of the words and phrases that we think they might use. And we need to make it accessible to students, no matter where they are and no matter which course that they're in. Third is stronger online student support. So for students themselves, they probably need multiple touch points for these skills throughout the term. And when I think of that, the 5 moments of need come to mind. So there's a difference between when students are first learning something and when they're adjusting and adapting to when something new comes into their environment. So the types of content that we need to share with students will change as the term goes on, as the assignments become more complex. Thus, that means that we need the resources to be more contextualized to their specific learning environments. I think there needs to be a variety of flexible resources, not so much linear, but multimodal and different options to consume the content. I also think there's an opportunity for peer-to-peer learning in the online environment that we haven't been leveraging at all, and it would be interesting to explore some more. In sum, I think that there needs to be a unified approach, and that's between the content that we're developing, the instructor support, and the student support. So for the student, when they're in the class, when they're first beginning the term, they're probably asking questions like, what skills do I need to succeed in this course? It's a great time to build awareness and to start sharing resources. Then they might think, what have I already got figured out? So that's a great opportunity for self-reflection because they might not know and they might not know the gaps. It's a great time to build context and to share resources that are contextual for where students might be starting out. Then they might think, what am I not getting? Where do I need support? Based on that self-reflection. So this is a great opportunity to nudge the student in the right direction while still providing them choice. And then finally, how can I check in that what I'm doing is working? Here's a great opportunity for feedback throughout the term and to leverage peer support. So these questions and what I've found in my research are going to guide my design document, and I'm excited for you to see it. Thank you.